let's do the business. As I said, when I heard this yesterday afternoon, I damn near fell over. I think it's incredibly interesting. Now, let me put a few qualifiers out there because I think it's important because the lazy homer, sycophant, apologists that are always a part of every fan base will come out of the weeds and immediately try to trash this. They'll try to, discredit this. Mike Lombardi is a loudmouth. He is. I know that. He's an opinionist now who was in the league for a long time. Former GM, former player personnel guy with the Raiders and the Browns and the Patriots. I understand he stirs up a lot of stuff. Let's get that out of the way. But unsolicited on his podcast that he does with former ESPN rising star Adnan Virk, unsolicited in a conversation about culture and how teams do it wrong, and citing his time with the Raiders and how Al Davis would put certain guys on, quote, scholarship, meaning they're making the team no matter what, and how bad a message that sends to other guys who have to fight for a job. He went into a multi-dimensional, I'm going to call it attack, not just a questioning, an attack on Matt Patricia, and as he referenced it, the Detroit Patriots. So there's your backdrop. Now, I'm going to play you 3 cuts. I rarely do this, but I just want you to listen for a minute, okay? We've shortened these as best we can. If you want the complete thing, the podcast is called GM Place or GM Street or whatever the hell it is. I subscribe to it. I don't even know the name of it.
GM Shuffle.
GM Shuffle, huh? Listen, just listen to this. And then I really, really sincerely hope we can get into a deep discussion about the believability of this and the acceptance or not of this. The first clip is, setting the stage for 2019, and Lombardi believes it's absolutely, and it sounds like he's been told this, it's win or go home. Take a listen.
Well, I think this. I think everybody in the building, and they'll all deny this after it comes out, that everybody in the building thinks it's either win this year or they're all gone. I think everybody knows in Detroit, the people around the Detroit Patriots are all saying it's either win or go home. I mean, they're going to have to prove they're taking a step, because this is what happens when you go radical and you try to become Bill Belichick. And so when you're trying to be Bill Belichick and you're not authentic Bill Belichick, it comes across. It's one thing, like to me, embracing this Patriot way, it just alienates the players even more, because then all of a sudden, look, we are the Detroit Lions. We have great history here. I think you got to embrace your past. Marines fight for Marines, right? Embrace your past and make the Detroit Lions, don't go back to that.
All right, that's one. Now, listen, we've talked about this. For many of us, I think this comes down to the following, and I'll get the other clips in a second, but see, I don't want to just ask you one question. I want to ask you 2 or 3. I want to give you an opportunity that demands response. I want to give you the opportunity to touch a couple different topics. Straight up, you're either all in on the Patriot way, meaning it doesn't matter what happens this year, you're giving Quinn Tricia year 3, right? You're going to see this thing through, or you're all out on the Patriot way, meaning anything short of playoffs, anything short of a winning record, you fire everyone. What side of that you're on, that's up to you, and I want to hear about it. So here's the first thing you can call in on, 248-539-9797. Now, the second clip, it talks about what Patricia should be doing to build a culture here. Take a listen.
It comes down to how teams are crafted. We talk about culture, right? On the Detroit Lions, we talk about culture. Well, instead of talking about the Patriots, you should talk about the only players who are going to make the teams are the ones that win the job. That doesn't matter where you drafted or how you play or where you're from or who signed you or what team you were with before. The only thing that matters is your performance on this field as we start out this journey, right? That's the number one thing. That starts the criteria. That starts the culture. But what happens, what we see when people are putting rosters together, and it's going to be very clear in Detroit, we have the first first thing we have, what happens in all businesses and all sports, is we have this thing called confirmation bias, which clearly the decision makers, they begin with the end in mind. We're going to have Danny Amendola on the team. He doesn't have to make the team. We're going to have this guy on the team. He doesn't have to. All of a sudden, that favoritism that you're showing to people, that confirmation bias, that eliminates your culture right there. Because the players don't think they're getting a fair chance, right?
Now, this is where the BS meter comes in. How much of that do you believe? On principle, how much of it do you believe? And then on actuality. See, those are two different things. On principle, it's, do you believe that bringing in too many of your own guys can poison things, can alienate players? And then the actuality of it is, do you believe that's happening here? I mean, look, facts are facts. You pay Justin Coleman in free agency, he's got a job. You pay Trey Flowers, he's got a job. You pay Danny Amendola, he's a Patriot. It doesn't matter that he's old. He's got a job. You bring in certain guys, they've got jobs. They don't have to make the team. And when you read the article in the Free Press the other day, what did it say? Starting spots are set. Doesn't that create a bit of a problem? I think it could. I think it can. I think it has. I think it does. 248-539-9797. Wake up, people. I ain't talking cupcakes today. Camp's open, and your coach and your organization just got firebombed. Wake the F up. Now, cut number 3. And this is where it borders on personal to me. But Lombardi basically says, Patricia's playing pretend. He's got to cut this out. Just take a listen to this.
And then the other one is this new coach bias. Whenever a new coach takes over a team, he always brings in players that know his system for what to do. And I think that's why the Lions are in such a desperate straits, because Matt's just trying to be Bill. Pencil in the ear, laminated sheet. Just Lion fans, keep reminding yourself of that. Pencil in the ear, a laminated sheet. Like, what's that pencil going to do for him? Like, I bet you in that locker room in Detroit, they're all saying, hey, if you ain't come from New England, you ain't got no chance. And then he reinforces the bias with this stupidity of saying we're going to be the Detroit Patriots. Like, seriously. Right. If you ask any management expert around the country if this is a smart strategy, they would tell you this is the dumbest thing they ever heard.
It's as damning as it gets. Now, the question comes down to the believability. Do you buy what Lombardi is selling in that third piece? Is that how you feel? Is that a former NFL executive voicing how you feel? Or do you have the complete opposite opinion? See, you know what you're not allowed to do? You're not allowed to not have an opinion on this. Period. Because if you don't call in, you're not a real Lion fan. It's not about going to games. This isn't about how much money you spend or don't spend on the team. If you don't have an opinion about this audio, you're not a fan. You're a nothing. You're a nomad. You don't care about the Lions or football, period. That's what this comes down to. You can laugh, you can mock that take, but it's the truth. I don't like your football team. And I have opinions coming out of my wazoo. I have so many opinions, I can't even get to them in this segment. So if you're not stirred emotionally about that, then I question whether you're a Lion fan in the first place. Period. This is a multifaceted topic that if you don't respond to it, you don't care about football. And if you don't care about football, I think you're a communist. I don't even know how you're here. You ought to be deported to Greenland. 248-539-9797. Now, here's what I'm going to do, because I'm nice and my benevolence knows no boundaries. These phone lines are wide open for you right now. But next, I'll take you through all 3 cuts briefly, and I'm going to give you my opinion and my setup on all of it. This is how we start training camp, right here. This. Not the top 10 things to watch for, not how good TJ Hawkinson's ass looks in shorts, not about Patricia on a scooter. We're going to start with something legitimate. This is the tone setter, not only for training camp, but for your season.